Coming up on today's show, we've got Fox Sports College basketball insider Evan Daniels. And we were out in New York City earlier this week getting the pulse of Big East Hoops fans in August. Plus, St. John's, a Throwback Thursday moment, all that and more. I am joined by Big East Digital Network correspondent Jay Alter, and I'll tell you what, we're into show 3.
We've made it.
Yes, we've got something fun today, too.
Yeah, they haven't kicked us off yet. In introducing a new segment, a little fun, Who Wants a T-Shirt? Big East Trivia. You've got all show to name the answer to this question. Coming at you. Which Big East player holds the single record for most points in a game, and it's got to be a conference game? You can comment below. The first person to get the player, how many points he scored, and who he scored it against, free T-shirt sent to you. So let the comments come in. We'll reveal the answer at the end of the show.
It's our Big East Shootaround trivia question today. That single game record in the Big East.
It's not a name that you would have off the top of your head unless you're John Fanta.
All right, let's get to it here. We've got our fast break social topics, and earlier this week, you may have been outside looking up at the sun, and I hope you had glasses for it. How did Big East Hoops players, coaches, even mascots handle the solar eclipse?
It was the talk of the week. Jay Wright tweeting out that the Wildcats were outside watching along with most of the country.
Seton Hall in South Orange, they could see the volleyball team. They wore the glasses as well as the Pirate Huxley. I don't know where Friar Don was, but I know that Huxley was repping Providence. And meanwhile, Coach Wojciechowski.
That's the best viewing out in the Midwest, right over Milwaukee. Coach Wojo got almost 100% visibility. And what a shot coming from D.C. The Hoyas with a great picture.
The eclipse was really Johnny Thunderbird, or was it? Dibs! It's Dibs in Chicago out of nowhere!
That's what social media is all about. Whatever the trending topic of the day or week is, our Big East schools capitalizing on it and having a lot of fun, too.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to be a part of. And next one, 2024, so you're going to have to buckle up.
Calendar's marked. I won't miss this one.
Wow, how about that? Well, you can't miss out on Chris Dunn, the two-time Big East Player of the Year, was back on campus earlier this week, and this is great to see.
You love to see a big-time player come back, stay in touch with the program, and Sir Dominic Pointer doing just that as well, going back to Carnesecca Arena, Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East in his playing days with the Johnnies. And Chris Dunn will go back to the scoring point guard for a second. He's settling into his new digs in Chicago, of course, part of that trade from Minnesota, which sent Jimmy Butler to the Timberwolves. And Chris Dunn was so dynamic, two-time Big East Player of the Year, and I think he's going to do great things for the Bulls this coming NBA season.
You know who I think is going to do great things? If you know me, I love Twitter, have a lot of followers that I engage with daily, probably too many tweets.
Too many.
And now a couple of tweets on the board for a brand new follow. A GOAT is now on Twitter. One of the best. Harry Peretta has an account.
More than 700 wins, and add another win for social media. Harry Peretta on Twitter, and he can get some advice from Coach Jay Wright, one of the best Twitter follows in Big East basketball, and hopefully Coach Peretta gets some tips from Coach Wright.
I mean,
it's tremendous. It is absolutely tremendous.
2 years ago, I asked Coach Peretta after a game, I said, hey, you on Twitter? And he said, well, guess what? Now he's on it. Look at Harry.
2017, folks.
Oh,
got to be on the social media.
I'll tell you, though, his offense, timeless. Twitter, he's new to, but his offense, it can beat so many teams in different ways. What else we got?
Angel Delgado. He is coming out, and he is playing some overseas basketball.
That's right. Delgado, it got announced he will be in the FIBA America for the Dominican Republic. Angel has played in the Pan Am Games in 2015, Central Basket in 2016, and now this getting announced August 25th to September 3rd. The big man for Seton Hall representing his homeland.
A contender for this year's Big East Player of the Year award, and really Delgado gearing up for what should be a special senior year, getting in a little preseason work, putting on the country uniform instead of a pirate one, and we wish Angel all the best in the coming weeks.
We talk about Big East hoops being year-round. Well, something that has entered the scene in basketball every summer is the new TBT. We love it, and there's a St. John's connection.
A big one, John, and guess what? These fellas, they know how to win. They've won the TBT 3 years running. We're talking about DJ Kennedy, Paris Horn, and Justin Burrell. Overseas elite, they're part of the team. They've gone 17-0 the last 3 summers. This past summer, they're bringing home $2 million. This is a big deal. And the Johnnies, they know how to party, too.
It is really cool to see some of your favorite college basketball players of yesterday being featured in the spotlight. I'm amazed at just how much this tournament has taken off, and it really is a great concept. And it's cool to see these St. John's alums get to go back in the glory days. Like, for me as a fan, I love watching it.
And Supernova was a team. The Golden Eagles had a team as well. So it's not just St. John's. A lot of college basketball teams play in the TBT, and it's a great way to keep up with some of your favorite players in the summertime when there's a little bit of a dead zone. And we love to see the Big East players not only play, but play well in this tournament. And hats up. Who is going to beat overseas elite? They've won it 3. They're better than the Golden State Warriors when it comes to this tournament. I mean, three in a row? It's unbelievable.
Alternative facts being rolled out right now from Jay
Not
Alter.
if they played one-on-one, but as it goes for the TBT, 3 years in a row, that's pretty good if you ask me.
Well, we've got our trending topic, and here's where we need your engagement, Big East fans. So if you're watching on Facebook Live, you got the comment tab below. We need your comment here. And we're on at Big East on Twitter, so feel free through Periscope to comment below. Earlier this week, John Gassaway of ESPN had a big list, Jay.
Yeah, it's the top 25 players for this upcoming season. The Big East Conference had 4 on the list. We start with number 6, Villanova's star guard, Jalen Brunson, followed up by Butler's Keelan Martin at number 14. Right behind Martin, number 17, Trayvon Blewett from Xavier. And then rounding out the list, the big man, double-double machine. We talked about him earlier in the show, Angel Delgado. So those were the 4 players in the Big East in the top 25. Our question to you is, if you had to have a 5th, who is receiving votes, if you will, just missing that top 25 in the conference?
I love Jalen Brunson, the point guard out of Villanova. And as a sophomore to take over for Ryan Arcidiacono, this was not easy. But look at how the game goes at his pace. So impressive. Keelan Martin is a dynamic scorer if I've ever seen one.
And how will Martin take that leadership role in his senior season under new head coach LaVall Jordan?
Here's Trayvon Blewett, that game winner against Seton Hall, and then the big man, Angel Delgado. Everybody wants to see if he can form that elbow jumper a little bit more, but he knows how to back anybody down, as he did here in the Big East tournament against Darrell Reynolds and company. So who would be your 5th? Right. Let's say you have that 5th member of your team, you're throwing him out there on the court. Who would be that next guy up?
So for me, it's Chiron Cartwright. I think the Friars need somebody on this list. And while there's no star that sticks out, yes, Rodney Bullock could also be considered. I think Cartwright's production really takes a step up this year. He already had 7 assists per game last year. Now in his senior season, he's going to really become a distributor. I think the scoring numbers come up as well for Ed Cooley. And I think Cartwright deserves to receive some votes. And as we get to preseason first team, second team, I think you'll see Cartwright's name.
And I'm going to go out to Omaha, and I will go with Marcus Foster. He is a dynamic scorer.
Yep.
I like the way that he guards as well. I think that this is a guy that just will launch it at an unlimited range. He has so many offensive capabilities. You got to watch out for Marcus Foster. If you don't account for him, he is going to hurt you. This is a guy that you have to be guarding at all times because he can score in so many ways. Trending topic right now, who would be that 5th player that you would add to your team? Comments on Facebook, comments on Periscope. We got all that and more.
And I think we should say the 4 that were included in the ESPN top 25, totally deserving, and we would have them as well.
Absolutely.
So it's those 4. It's really who is the 5th, who would round out that first team when it comes to Big East, a conference team at the end of the season.
All right, we will discuss that later on in the show.
Keep those comments coming. We'll round it all up.
No doubt about it. We have a Kamar Baldwin submission that
we
can see on Facebook. That's a really good one.
Shamari Pons just came in, so keep him coming. Pons definitely going to take a big step up in his sophomore year. Can he crack into that top 5? It's not out of consideration.
All right, we will check back in on that later, but we've got our big guest, Evan Daniels from Fox Sports and Scout as well. He's all over the college basketball scene, doing great work. But before we do that, we head to a St. John's moment this week that has a TBT connection to where we were earlier in the show.
It was an afternoon to remember at the world's most famous arena. Steve Lavin and St. John's taking on number 4 Pittsburgh Red Storm, trailing by 6. That's when DJ Kennedy started the Johnny Surge. drama at the end. St. John's ball in the lead, cut to 1. Clock winding down. Here's how it sounded on ESPN.
With 2, Hardy reverse layup is good. 1.2 left. Hit on a timeout. Want to make it from half court. No! St. John's does it again against a top 10 team.
An absolute thriller at the Garden, led by Dwight Hardy's 19 points, including that clutch reverse layup to win it with just a second on the clock. The win was part of an incredible 8-1 stretch, which included wins against top 15 teams like Duke, UConn, and Villanova.
Well, he is Fox Sports college basketball insider. He hosts the Sidelines Podcast that's available every week on iTunes, and he is with Scout as well, covering all things recruiting. Evan Daniels is our guest this week on Shootaround. Evan, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, my question for you is, how did Evan Daniels get to be where he's at today? You're all over the place in the college basketball scene.
A little hard work, a little luck, but I've had a lot of fun with it. I went to college at Western Kentucky and actually studied broadcasting, but I got involved with basketball really right when I got into college, and have been able to move up the ladder and really started and cut my teeth in recruiting, and had an opportunity to branch out and cover a little college basketball too. So it's been a fun ride.
You cover college basketball for Fox Sports, and that's where Big East hoops are found. I'm going to put you in the shoes of a Big East basketball coach. When talking about playing in this conference, what would be your pitch?
Well, there's a lot of great reasons to play your college basketball in the Big East, and obviously each school is going to have a different type of pitch and a different selling point, but this league as a whole has a lot of tradition. It's got a lot of great coaches. The competitiveness, night in and night out, you have to bring it. 7 teams made the NCAA tournament last year. There's no days off in this league. And then you have the ultimate culmination. You get to play the Big East tournament in Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. It doesn't get much better than that.
We're in a culture where one and done talk is always around in college basketball. And you brought up Jay Wright. Evan, how does he get the kids that he does, a lot of those 4-year players, where the culture is often that one and done talk, but Wright continually is able to make things work at Villanova?
Well, I think it's a lot about fit, and it's a lot about getting the right pieces and putting those pieces together. Just look at their national championship team. I remember talking to Jay Wright not too long after they won the title, and he tells me they don't win that championship game or any of the other games without Daniel Sheffield. It's not just about having the most talent, but it's about having a roster that fits, and I think Jay Wright's been able to do that at Villanova.
Who do you think is the biggest challenge to the Wildcats entering this season?
Well, I think that's a great question, especially because after Villanova, you could go a couple different directions. But I think the two that I'm probably looking most closely at is Seton Hall and Xavier. Now, Seton Hall returns their top 4 scorers. They accounted for 80% of their scoring last year. So I think it's pretty easy to project that they're going to continue to grow and get better. And I think Seton Hall could be really good. And then Xavier, they return Trayvon Blewett, who's arguably the best scorer in the league, plus J.P. McCura, who I think is primed for a pretty big season. And then they bring in a top 10 recruiting class, guys like Paul Scruggs and Nazi Marshall and Elias Hart. And I think that those guys can have an immediate impact on that Xavier program. So if anybody's going to knock off Villanova, at least right now, I like Seton Hall and Xavier.
Let's go to Rhode Island. And Ed Cooley is one of the most fascinating college basketball coaches, and he's now taken Providence to the NCAA tournament the last 4 years, really setting a standard in the league. Why has he been so consistent?
I think Ed Cooley is also one of the more underrated recruiting guys. I mean, Chris Dunn and Ben Bentil come to mind, and he had a top 20 recruiting class this past season, but I think he gets the most out of his guys. He really develops them, and he coaches with a passion. He gets a lot out of his guys. I'll never forget A couple of years back, I had an opportunity to sit down on a pregame speech that Ed Cooley was given, and he had me ready to jump out of my seat and go play. He just brings that type of energy and passion, and he gets the most out of his guys. They enjoy playing for him, but he's also just a really good basketball coach, and that's the simple answer.
With that in mind, which incoming freshmen across the league beyond Ashton Langford do you have in mind entering the 17-18 season?
Well, I think the guys that are going to be the two most impactful freshmen in this league this season are Ashton Langford and Xavier's Najee Marshall. And you could have gone with Xavier's Paul Scruggs, but I just think Najee Marshall is so versatile. It's a guy that I think is probably going to get minutes at 3 different positions for Xavier. He plays hard. He's a really good rebounder. He can defend. He just brings a lot of versatility to the table. And to expand a little on Ashton Langford, this is a guy with very good size for the point guard position. He's savvy. He plays at a good pace. He brings it on defense. He plays with energy. He can really distribute and pass. He's a leader. He's a guy that Ed Cooley is going to want on the floor. So I think Ashton Langford and Xavier's Najee Marshall, 2 guys that I'm looking at to be really productive and have really good freshman seasons.
We've got some fan questions now from different Big East Hoops followers. First one is, what Big East teams will be ranked in the AP Top 25 poll?
Ooh, that's a good question. Obviously, I think Villanova will be in that mix. So will Xavier and Seton Hall, and I could also see Providence ranked. I think those first 3 for sure, though.
Your Big East Player of the Year favorite and then dark horse candidates.
Ooh, favorite? I think I may go with Angel Delgado. I think he's going to have a huge season. Obviously, you could go with Jalen Brunson or Keelan Martin or Trayvon Blewett, but I think Angel Delgado is so productive and so important to that Seton Hall basketball team. In terms of a dark horse, maybe Marcus Foster from Creighton. I think he averaged more than 18 points a game last year, can really score. So I think he could be it's hard to say a guy that scores that many points is a dark horse, but I think he's going to have a huge season.
Coming all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, Evan Daniels. Thanks so much for joining us.
John, thanks for having me, man. It was fun.
And again, thanks to Evan for taking some time with us on Big East Shootaround. He hit it out of the park when it comes to the coaches in this conference. Absolutely defines what Big East basketball is, game in and game out. So, still to come on Shootaround. We're going out to New York City. Did it on Monday. We got the temperature of Big East basketball right outside of Madison Square Garden. And yes, one name kept coming up, Georgetown head coach Patrick Ewing. But first, take a look at Ed Cooley's crop of freshmen coming to Friartown.
You know who Chiron Cartwright is if you've been watching Big East Hoop.
Short. Cartwright! Oh, what about the hang time? Oh.
The dynamic Providence point guard that helped pace the Friars to the program's 4th straight NCAA tournament berth. Well, now Friars head coach Ed Cooley has a good problem to have, as his 2017 recruiting class is powered by a point guard. That's Ashton Langford out of the Brewster Academy in Wolfboro, New Hampshire. Ashton Langford is in the ESPN Top 100 ratings. He is ranked number 36 overall, and he's the 11th ranked point guard by ESPN. On top of that, Ashton Langford knows winning. He led Brewster to a 33-0 mark and the National Prep Championship as a senior. Ashton Langford adds pace, and the rest of Providence's class adds size, as there's 2 more 4-star recruits. Nate Watson, a center out of Bishop O'Connell High School at 6'8", as well as DeJour Dickens at 6'10" out of Bethel High School in Hampton, Virginia. These 2 look to give Ed Cooley's front court a boost, as Providence brings back experience and looks to be a lock in the 2017-18 campaign for the Big Dance.
It's the middle of August, and we're here on the streets of New York City, outside Madison Square Garden, asking Big East Hoops fans, well, what's on their mind? Jihad, do you know the name Patrick Ewing?
Of course I do.
Where did
One of my favorites. I came here specifically for Patrick, I'd say about 50 to 75 times.
You know who the head coach of Georgetown is right now?
I heard it's going to be Patrick Ewing. He's awesome. He was an awesome player back for Georgetown as well as the Knicks.
I know he wear, I think, 33 on his sneakers.
How do you think Patrick Ewing will be for the Hoyas?
I don't think he's got to be able to beat Willard. So I think Willard's got him done.
Fanta trying to pull people off the street. Here he is.
That's right, I'm on a mission. You know anything about basketball?
Steve-Rod.
You know anything about basketball?
Nothing?
Nothing. You know anything about basketball? What
Nothing.
about you? Anything about food?
Gotta catch a train, man.
That's all right. Great outdoors.
Who is more effective?
Yes.
People shutting you down?
Oh, hello. Hi there.
People
Okay.
shutting you down on the street, or Patrick Ewing shutting people down in the paint?
Patrick Ewing shutting people down in the paint.
I don't know. These people have been pretty good.
Oh, I love Patrick. He can go. I liked him with the Knicks back in the day. Absolutely. We'll see what he does. First year, got to get some of his recruits in there and then see what he does. Give him 3-4 years. See if he can turn the program around and get some W's.
The name Chris Mullin mean anything to you?
Yeah, old Chris Mullin with the left hand. Boop. St. John's favorite.
Who'd you rather play for, Ewing or Mullin?
I'd say Ewing. I got something to teach him.
Oh, you got Patrick Ewing against Chris Mullin at MSG. Now they're coaching.
I'll be in attendance.
You'll be here.
Most certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. Two legends.
We need to bring you into the conversation here.
I am not good at basketball, so
You're not good at basketball or talking about basketball?
both.
How excited are you for the Big East tournament at MSG?
I mean, is there a better arena than MSG? So I think it's always great when any of our teams get to play there.
I mean, we had a lot of fun in New York
was.
City. Now, you had one guest in particular, didn't you? One guy that stood out.
These
Who are we
guys
talking about?
nowadays are 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall, but the rim's still the same height for these guys. This isn't, no.
What can we do about that?
Well, these guys are taller, stronger, raise the rim, and then we'll know who the really true great players are.
What height would you like to see the rim at?
Oh, just raise a few inches.
Give me the height.
Oh, listen.
That guy had no clue how tall baskets are. He had no clue. You never know who you are going to run into in the streets of New York City. That's what I love about this segment. We actually had some knowledgeable Big East basketball fans and then some not so knowledgeable basketball fans as well.
And it was on Eclipse Day, nonetheless.
Eclipse, Trump, it all comes up on the streets of New York City. But Patrick Ewing getting a lot of love and a lot of fans out. Loved him with the Knicks, and that definitely carried through to a lot of the people we talked to outside MSG.
9-foot baskets. 9-foot baskets. What questions do we have in the social media world today?
John, somebody asking, what is your favorite Big East arena? There's a lot to choose from and a lot of good ones.
Well, I'll go with some of my favorites on that one. I love going to Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indy. It is such a rich tradition atmosphere. I mean, that's what stands out to me about Hinkle. It just defines tradition in college basketball. The Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence is a really sneaky, tough place to play. It sneaks up on you. It's not easy to win there, and I love the size of it. Cintas Center is just beautiful at Xavier. Really, really fun to be a part of that. The arena that I'm guilty of not going to, but I promise you, Blue Jay Nation, I will be going to this upcoming year, is the CenturyLink Center in Omaha. And I talk to people around the league office, and everybody always says, wow, what an atmosphere with the 18,000 plus. They have so many special promotions. Can't wait for that. And then I think the Pavilion, where Villanova has only lost once in the last 4 years. I mean, just such a tough place to play. And you step in there and you just sense the tradition of Coach Massimino and now what Jay Wright's for. I mean, it's really cool. So those would be some of my favorites in the league.
So I say pick a favorite, and John chooses everybody. They're all great. They're all great.
I like them
One
all.
you didn't mention, MSG, where the Johnnies play their home games, and somebody writes in, will the Red Storm make the tournament, and will they beat Duke at the Garden?
For St. John's, it's about a one-game-at-a-time mentality. And I know that those fans out there don't want to hear that from me. I think that this is a team that has the talent to turn the corner in 2017-18. And by that, I mean the biggest step they have to take is try to be in the top 6 of the Big East. Get that Big East tournament bye. And then you go from there. You figure in this league, which sent 7 teams to the NCAA tournament a year ago. If you're getting a Big East tournament bye, right now with the pedigree of the league and with the scheduling and the non-conference from this league, that is how you make the NCAA tournament. And the Johnnies are challenging themselves. There was a great New York Post piece out earlier this week about some of their non-conference showdowns. They're going to face teams like Arizona State. Obviously, Duke is on there. That comes to mind. And there's several other games. They're going to the Advocare Invitational where they'll get tested as well. So St. John's needs to take it one game at a time in order to get to that ultimate goal, making the big dance. That Duke game on the non-conference slate will be thrilling. And look, they've pulled it off before. Who says they can't pull it off again at the Garden?
And we got some great comments throughout the show, people writing in who their top 5 would be for the preseason awards. Keep them coming throughout the week, something we may revisit on next week's show. And also for those watching on demand, as we are live, and we appreciate the live interaction, but if you're watching later, you can still write in for the trivia question. Let's show it one more time. Which player holds the most points scored in a single Big East Conference basketball game? The person who names who did it, how many points, and against who will get a Big East t-shirt in the mail. So keep it coming, and we can't wait to see who nails that one.
We'll see who nails it, but first we've got Beyond the Game, and in this week's edition, with everybody getting back to school, we look at some of the ultimate student athletes in men's basketball. Josh Hart at Villanova has done it all, and now he is a Los Angeles Laker, and nobody seemed more deserving of that NBA draft first-round pick than a guy like Josh, who won the Senior Class Award this past year. It is given to the men's basketball senior student athlete who displays greatness in competition in the classroom as well as in the community. All those things on top of character, and Villanova defined by attitude. Josh took that honor home, and actually 3 of the last 4 honorees in NCAA men's basketball at the Senior Class Award have been from the Big East, as we've got Alex Barlow and Kellen Dunham. Earlier this summer, though, I caught up with Josh briefly at Villanova, and you can sense his passion for the university.
I was here for 4 years, 4 great years. This is home. This is family, and I say that in every sense of the word. My brother that's on the team now, guys that I played with that are gone and playing professionally, and the staff. This is a family. When you step into this Villanova Wildcat program, you become a family member.
Well, when you talk to Josh and you talk to those Villanova guys, we were at Summer Jam earlier this summer, and I'll tell you what, Jay, you just take it away from them that attitude is personified.
Well, it's a appropriately named award because Josh Hart is all class when you talk to him, and his love for the university and Coach Wright in that program just shines through. I mean, look, the guy's picked by the Lakers. He could be out in L.A., and instead he's giving back and trying to, keep that Villanova tradition going for the guys in this coming season.
What's on tap for Big East Shootaround the next couple of weeks? Well, we're back next Thursday at 3 Eastern, and we're on every Thursday at 3 o'clock. But in the next couple of weeks, folks, I know you tweet at me all the time, when's the schedule coming out? They are working diligently. Some point in September, the news is coming. They're working hard in the offices. It is on its way, and we are working on a couple of big-time guests. You are not going to want to miss what's in store.
And keep your suggestions coming. What do you want to talk about? Who do you want to see on the program? Let us know. Comment on Facebook. John's all over Twitter. Let him know, and he will make it happen. Or do his best to make it happen.
That's right. Great to be talking to you guys about Big East Hoops every single week. We're glad that you were with us. He's Jay Alter. I'm John Fanta. Keep on tweeting at us. Shootaround may only be at 3, but Big East Hoops is all day, all night long. So long, everybody.